You are listening to the Primitive Intelligence Podcast, episode 407. Maybe you've already listened to episode 407 and you forgot. The Mandela Effect conspiracy. You might be thinking, what in the hell is the Mandela Effect conspiracy? Well, we're going to get into that. I'm not going to so much get into the specifics of any one Mandela Effect, but about Mandela Effect as a whole. So we're going to get into that in a minute. If you're watching this on YouTube, you may notice a different camera angle. I have been using, up until now, this Logitech webcam. It is an HD webcam, and it theoretically should do pretty good, but it's been just garbage. It's been very glitchy. It's been very... it froze up in the middle of last episode, so there's some spots there where I've got like this frozen look on my face, it did not do well. So I've got my phone for my camera running over here. I'm going to just sync up the audio after the fact. I'm recording the audio on the computer, the video on the phone. I'll sync it up. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. Also, if you're listening to the podcast in a podcast app, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, anything like that, you may notice when I refer to the show notes where the links are, you may go in there and see that they're stripped out for some reason. I don't know why that's happening. I think it's just the podcast apps themselves. They only put so much information. So if you want to see the show notes or any images or anything like that I put in there, even the individual episode art that I make for these episodes, then go over to primitiveintelligence.com, find that episode. That information will be in the bottom, and you can find all the episodes up in the drop down for seasons as well. So if you want to listen to seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4, if you want to listen to them all, then you can go ahead and find that right on the website. So without further ado, we're going to get into episode 407. Maybe you've already listened to episode 407 and you forgot the Mandela Effect conspiracy of the Primitive Intelligence Podcast. It starts now. Mandela effects. You may be thinking to yourself, Mandela effect isn't really a conspiracy theory. And you're right. The Mandela effect itself is not a conspiracy theory. It is a psychological phenomenon. It's something that is experienced by people. It's not fake. People do experience the Mandela effect. So first, let's look at what the Mandela effect really is, in case you're not familiar. The Mandela effect basically is when a large group of people remember something, a historical event or a line from a movie, the name of a product, something like that. They remember it one specific way, and they have clear, vivid memories of this. But the rest of the world remembers it a different way. Remembers something completely different. This is also referred to as false memory, and false memory is going to happen. I'm not going to get to a whole long thing about how the brain works, but the brain is really good at what it does, but it's also really bad at what it does. Every time we recall a memory, it gets restored in our brain slightly differently. Because we recall it, we might make a change to what we think we remember, and then that change gets added into that memory, it gets put back in our brain. So over the years, our memories are less and less reliable. So false memory is absolutely a thing. That might explain if one or two people remember something differently, but there's huge amounts of people who remember some things completely different. What the Mandela effect is named after isn't the first instance of it, it's just the name that stuck. So Nelson Mandela was the anti-apartheid leader of South Africa, and political things happened. He got thrown in jail. I'm not going to get to a big history lesson on that. And people remember him dying in prison in the 1980s. And then he got released from jail. And people, myself included, I thought that he had passed away. And a lot of people thought that he had passed away. So it was really kind of jarring for a lot of people. Like just that thought of, I swear he died in prison. And then there was this paranormal consultant, and her name was, I got it right here, Fiona Broom, who was talking about her false memory of him dying in prison and referred to it as the Mandela Effect. And that name just stuck. But that was one that a lot of people swore that he had passed away. Now, this was I think it was in 2010, if I'm looking at this right, that the Mandela Effect name was dubbed. And Nelson Mandela didn't actually pass away until 2013. So kind of a weird one that so many people remembered hearing that he had passed away. Now, obviously, who knows how that even happened? But if that was the only one, okay, it would be weird enough. But okay, but there's, like I said, there's lines from movies. There's names of products, things like Jif peanut butter. People remember being called Jiffy. I always remember being Jif. I remember there being Skippy peanut butter. I think maybe that one gets confused, Jif and Skippy. Berenstain Bears, the spelling of Berenstain Bears, the spelling of the Looney Tunes. Logos, like the Fruited Loom logo. Do you remember there being a cornucopia behind it? Like the little horn-shaped basket? The one that gets me, the one that's really kind of freaking me out right now, is Ed McMahon was never an employee, never was associated with Publishers Clearinghouse. And I can swear to God, I remember seeing commercials on TV with Ed McMahon handing people checks from Publishers Clearinghouse. Never happened. He was associated with a competing company that did something similar, but I don't know if I don't know if I ever saw anybody say that he handed out checks on TV like that, but he was a spokesman for another company. But I swear it was Publishers Clearinghouse. So that one always kind of freaks me out. There is a belief that the frequency with which these Mandela effects are occurring is getting greater. So it's happening more often. And one of the main culprits, I don't want to say it's a culprit, but what people associate the uptick in these Mandela effects with is the CERN research center in Switzerland. And they have this device there called the Large Hadron Collider. And it is, we'll talk a little bit about that just because it's kind of important to this. So the Large Hadron Collider, it is a particle collider. So basically, it is a giant ring. And I'm going to really make this simple because I don't understand everything about what a Large Hadron Collider is, but this is my understanding of it. It's a large ring lined with magnets or aligned using high power magnets that they can take particles and basically particles around that ring in opposite directions, in opposing directions, and then get them to, as fast as they can get them, as close to the speed of light as they can get these things going in opposite directions, and then direct them to collide. And when they collide, they can gain all kinds of information. They can find new particles. They can see reactions that may have only occurred during the Big Bang. There's all kinds of scientific data they can pull from these. So looking at a list here of CERN achievements, they found in 1973 discovered neutral currents with the Gargamel bubble chamber. Okay, I don't know what that means. W and Z bosons. They've in 1983, 1989, they were able to determine the number of light neutrino families in the Large Electron Position Collider. That was the precursor to the Large Hadron Collider. In 1995, they had the first creation of anti-hydrogen atoms. In 1999, discovery of direct CP violation. The scientific stuff, I don't know everything here. 2000, heavy iron program discovered new state of matter, the quark gluon plasma. Okay, that's a new state of matter, plasma. 2010, the isolation of 38 atoms of anti-hydrogen. 2011, they were able to maintain anti-hydrogen for over 15 minutes. And then in 2012, a boson was discovered with the consistency of the long sought-after Higgs boson, which is also known as the God particle. So, a lot of sciencey stuff going on there. Not in that list, but below here they say that in 2011, they reported detection of possibly they found faster than light neutrinos. Tests showed that the results were flawed, but I mean, if they might be faster than light, you're getting things moving pretty quick. So the CERN Research Center, and more specifically this Large Hadron Collider, are where a lot of the theories of what is going on with Mandela effects come from. So there is a theory out there that in 2012, when they believe they found this Higgs boson, that what they actually did was they created a black hole, and it just is growing and it is consuming the Earth, and we just don't know it yet. Like, there's no hope. We're stuck. We're getting pulled into a black hole. We just don't know it yet. And that's actually causing tears in our reality and making us misremember things, maybe. There's also, I don't know how black holes work well enough. I would think that, I mean, if that was 2012, that's 8 years. I mean, I know time works differently, they say, in a black hole or around a black hole, so maybe we wouldn't know, but I think we might have an idea by now. But that would be one heck of a conspiracy theory if we were getting sucked into a black hole and they were hiding it. That would be a big one. So I think the theory I like more, though, is that during these tests, at some point, the fabric between realities, or we broke time, they broke time, they broke the universe, or multiple parallel universes. That is not just a fun thing in movies and TV shows, but there is some scientific belief that we may live in a multi-universe, that there's just universes on top of universes. Now, whether those are other complete universes outside of our own, or if they're alternate, like parallel universes that are in the same space but slightly different, who knows? That's a lot of information for this episode. But what this theory basically states is that either two universes were merged together, two universes or dimensions or whatever you want to call them were merged together, or two timelines were merged together, right? Because we don't really know how time works. This is very sci-fi too. You know, you can merge timelines, but in this merging of either timelines or realities or universes, or whatever you want to call them, some people maintained they're two separate universes. Some people kept their memories from their universe, and some people kept, and the others kept their memories from their related universe. So like universe A and universe B, you know, some people kept universe A's history, some people remember universe B's history. And when that merged together, that created all these issues with these Mandela effects starting to bleed through. And maybe the further we get from that point of merging, the more these will start to pop up. And then if that's the truth, is it even a conspiracy theory? Because a conspiracy theory states that there's a known deception going on. But it's very possible that something like this actually happened. The people who would know might not actually know. Because if universe A is where the event happened that merged the two universes, that event didn't happen in universe B, and the people in the know are from universe B or having memories of universe B, then they would never know that the event happened. That one, think about that. You forget what happened because you never knew it, because it didn't happen where you're from, but now you're in a different place where it did happen, but the memory of that is gone. That's kind of crazy. That's a brain twister right there. So how could we know? How could we actually find out? Like there's no way we would know. We can't even guarantee that there are parallel universes or multiple universes or metaverses or whatever you want to call them. Alternate dimensions, parallel realities, alternate timelines. We don't know that any of that exists. But we don't know. We can't prove they exist, and we can't prove they don't exist. We just don't know. It's unknowable. How do you prove or disprove it? How do you prove or disprove an unknowable fact? It's one or the other. So you can guess, but we can never actually know. So I've been seeing a lot of people online talking about these, if you remember this, then you're from my reality. Or if you don't remember this, you're from the other reality. And this is what they're talking about. They're talking about Mandela effects and the possibility that maybe it's CERN, maybe it was something else. But somehow two realities got merged together, and some of us remember things from universe A, and some people remember things from universe B. Maybe people remember things from universe C and D and E. We don't know. We don't know. I tried to go through and find some evidence either way of what could possibly cause this. And of course, there's always the scientific, it's just false memory and faulty brain chemistry. And not that everybody's got faulty brain chemistry, but like I said, the brain doesn't always do the best job of remembering things. And then there's people who say, well, it's impossible that what you're saying could have been caused by CERN. But the more I look into it, the more I realize if it did happen and that particular event was wiped from the current, what we know as our timeline or our universe, then we could never know if it actually happened. So this one just kind of gets hung out there as maybe. Could we possibly be living in an alternate universe? Maybe. Could some of us be having memories of an alternate universe where we shifted over, where we're just memory shifted over? I don't know. I think I might dive into Mandela effects as more of a topic of just particular Mandela effects in the future, because some of these are fun, and these are just good, fun, interesting stories to maybe hurt your brain, because some of them really will make you think that you're going crazy. You remember something completely differently. Some of these actually confuse me when I look at them and I hear. I'll just go over a couple real quick. The ones that I saw. So here's a couple examples of Mandela effects. Of course, Nelson Mandela. It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood versus the neighborhood. What do you remember Mr. Rogers saying? Berenstain Bears versus Berenstein Bears. The death of Billy Graham in 2018 versus him dying years ago with President Clinton giving a eulogy. I don't remember either of those. King Henry VIII's portrait holding a glove or turkey leg. Which one is it? Mother Teresa being canonized post-mortem versus the 1990s. I remember her being canonized after she died. In the song We Are the Champions by Queen. How does the song end? Does it end as We Are the Champions? Or does it end with Of the World? The show Sex and the City. Some people remember being Sex in the City. I never watched it, so I couldn't tell you. Jif Peanut Butter versus Jiffy Peanut Butter. Talk about that one. Curious George. Does he have a tail or doesn't he? C-3PO. Do you remember him with a silver leg or with a gold leg? Patrick Swayze died of pancreatic cancer versus he fully recovered. No, I remember him dying. I never heard anybody say he recovered. That's a new one. That's the first time I've heard that one. And then the Monopoly Man. Does he have a monocle or doesn't he? This website, I'm going to put a link to this website down in the show notes. It's on a website called Gaia.com. And it's the Mandela Effect, CERN, and the Hidden Parallel Universes. It's an interesting read. Talks about quantum theory. There's a video here called Developing Multidimensional Awareness. Examples of the Mandela Effect. And it talks about time travel. And the link to science-related notions did not take me to anything I want to read. So let me know what you think. If you've got some Mandela effects you'd like me to look into for future episodes, I'm 90% sure I'm going to get into some of these, and because they're just fun. They'll be fun episodes. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the episode. A nice short one this week, and there's no tie to team sports mentality in this one. Just a nice, fun, short little conspiracy that can never be proved or disproved because the answer may be in a different timeline. Hope it makes you think more, and I'll see you in the next episode.